Have you ever stopped to think about what really goes into making a classroom work well? I mean, is it just the curriculum or is it maybe something more foundational about how teachers are guided? Today, we're going to dive deep into something pretty significant happening in California education, the 2024 updates to the California teaching standards or the CSTP. Our goal here is to really unpack these changes, figure out what's new, what's different, and crucially, why it matters not just for educators, but for every student, every family in California.
Absolutely. And just to give you a sense of what we're drawing on, we've got quite a pile here. Official documents from the CTC, that's the Commission on Teacher Credentialing News Reports, academic takes, and really importantly, feedback from actual teachers. It gives us a comprehensive view of these changes.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. What are the California standards for the teaching profession, the CSTP?
Right. So think of the CSTP not just as like helpful hints. They are the actual foundational documents from the CTC. They shape pretty much every stage of a teacher's professional life in California.
Every stage? You mean like from the very beginning?
Yeah, exactly. From their university preparation programs, then into their first years through induction, all the way to ongoing professional development, and even teacher evaluations. It's the backbone.
Wow. Okay, so they're not just sitting on a shelf somewhere. They actively shape teaching quality.
Definitely. They set the expectations. They provide the framework for what effective teaching looks like across the state. It's pretty critical stuff.
And the previous version was from way back in 2009. That feels like a lifetime ago in education terms.
It really does.
So what was the trigger for such a major overhaul now? Why these big changes in 2024?
Well, that's the key question, isn't it? The new standards, which the CTC adopted back in March and are rolling out this fall, they basically acknowledge that, well, education hasn't stood still since 2009. There's new research on how kids learn best. The student population is incredibly diverse. And, society itself has different challenges and understandings than 15 years ago.
That makes sense. Things have certainly changed.
A lot. So the updates are really about aligning teaching practice with kind of our current reality and understanding.
Okay, so if that's the why, let's get into the what. What are the big shifts, the major themes that you see woven through these revised 2024 standards?
There are definitely some key themes that stand out. One huge one is social emotional learning, SEL.
SEL, right. That seems to be everywhere now.
It is, and here it's much more deeply integrated across the standards. It's not just like a separate lesson. It's fundamental to how teachers are expected to support student development and well-being.
So it's about the whole child, not just academic.
Exactly. Another big one is family engagement. That's really been elevated. It explicitly calls out the need to build strong partnerships with families, recognizing them as, crucial partners in a student's success.
Which feels long overdue for many.
I think so. And then there's culturally responsive teaching. It's now explicitly named and encouraged. The idea is for teachers to actively create environments that, really honor and use students' diverse backgrounds as assets in learning.
Okay. SEL, family engagement, culturally responsive teaching. What else?
Universal design for learning UDL principles are woven in. This is about designing lessons to be accessible and effective for all learners from the outset.
So planning for diversity, not just reacting to it.
Precisely. And related to that, there's the inclusion of trauma-informed practices. Recognizing that students might bring trauma experiences into the classroom and creating a supportive, understanding environment is key.
That seems incredibly important, given what we know now.
It is, and underpinning a lot of this is a really strong, explicit focus on strengthening equity for all students. That's a foundational thread. Oh, and of course, updates reflecting the role of technology in classrooms today, and a continued emphasis on ethical professional conduct, just updated for, modern contexts.
That's quite a list. So those are the overarching themes. How do they actually look inside the specific standards? There are 6 of them, right?
Yes, 6 core standards. And these themes aren't just like floating ideas, they're embedded within those 6.
Can you give us an example? Maybe pick 1 or 2 standards.
Sure. Let's take standard 1. That one's called engaging and supporting all students in learning. Now, with the revisions, it explicitly includes language about family engagement, supporting socio-emotional development, and using culturally responsive practices. So that standard's definition of support just got much broader.
Okay, so it's baked right into the core expectations for engaging students.
Exactly. Or look at standard 2, creating and maintaining effective environments for student learning. The update puts a much bigger emphasis on environments being not just, physically safe, but also truly inclusive and trauma-informed. reflecting that deeper understanding of student needs.
Makes sense. What about the teachers themselves? Does it address their development?
Yes, Standard 6, Developing as a Professional Educator, has some interesting updates too. There's more focus now on the teacher's own well-being, which is crucial, and also on the importance of continuous reflection on their practice and learning collaboratively with colleagues. It acknowledges the teacher's journey.
Right, because you can't pour from an empty cup, as they say.
Something like that, yeah.
So these are pretty significant changes on paper. What does this actually mean for teachers working in classrooms today and for, well, the whole system in California? What are the practical ripple effects?
The ripple effects are definitely substantial. For starters, all the teacher preparation programs, the university programs where people get their credentials, and the induction programs for new teachers, they have to align their training with these new standards.
So new teachers coming in will be trained differently from the start?
Correct. They'll be learning these approaches from day one, and then there's the CalTPA.
Ah, the big performance assessment for new teachers.
Exactly. That assessment is also being updated to reflect these new CSTPs, so teachers will have to demonstrate these skills and understandings to get their clear credential.
That's a direct link between the standards and assessment. Any other system changes?
Well, it's interesting timing because the CTC also just launched a brand new credential, a PK3 Early Childhood Education Specialist credential. While separate, it really complements this broader CSTP focus on integrated learning and development, especially for younger kids. It provides that specialized pathway.
So sort of parallel development focusing on early years.
Yeah, fits together nicely. And for teachers already in the classroom, tools they use for professional growth will also change. You know, the continuum of teaching practice, that document that helps teachers see where they are from beginning to innovating on the standards.
Like a roadmap for growth.
Right. That's being updated too, to align with the 2024 standards. So it provides a clear pathway for experienced teachers to develop in these new areas.
Okay, so training, assessment, credentials, growth tools.
Yeah.
It touches everything. But what are teachers themselves saying about all this? You mentioned teacher feedback earlier.
Yeah, and the feedback is, well, it's mixed, as you might expect with any big change. On one hand, you have many educators who really welcome this increased focus. They see the emphasis on student well-being, on equity, on preparing teachers for today's complex classrooms as, frankly, necessary and overdue.
They see the value in it.
They do. But then there are also very real concerns being raised.
Like what? The workload.
That's a big one. Concerns about potential increased workload, absolutely. And crucially, the need for really significant high-quality professional development. You can't just mandate, say, trauma-informed practice or deep family engagement without providing the training and resources needed to do it well.
Right. These aren't simple checkboxes. They require new skills, maybe different ways of working.
Exactly. So teachers are asking, where is the support? Where are the resources to help us actually implement this effectively? Without that, it risks becoming just another thing piled on.
That's a critical point. The gap between the standard on paper and the reality in the classroom. So pulling it all together, these 2024 CSTP revisions, they really signal a major shift, don't they, towards teaching that's more holistic, more focused on equity, more responsive to the whole child.
That's definitely the goal. Prioritizing things like social and emotional health, strong family partnerships, culturally aware teaching, right there in the foundation.
A significant ambition.
It is. And this raises that crucial question. How do you actually translate these ambitious standards, these words on paper, into real, profound, positive change in every single classroom across a state as huge and diverse as California? That's the work ahead. That's the challenge, but also, I think, the opportunity.
It really is. And that leaves us and you, our listener, with something to think about. What does it truly take for an education system like California's to not just keep up, but actually anticipate the complex, evolving needs of its students and communities? And how do standards like these serve as a kind of living guidepost on that ongoing journey?